Hello and welcome to another video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump, and today we'll be talking about one of the hardest aspects of learning Overwatch, knowing when it's time to switch characters. One of the most defining characteristics of a good player is knowing when to utilize the right hero to do the right job. Unlike other games like COD or Battlefield, there is no character that can kind of do it all. Each hero has very defined characteristics and it can take a while to master one, let alone the 3 to 5 every player should have within their arsenal. Many times in an Overwatch match you will be faced with this conundrum. The character you have chosen cannot do the task at hand. You have become ineffective and you are just cycling through respawns feeding the opposition ults. A good player will recognise this very quickly and take steps to adapt, but to newcomers this can be confusing and in some cases not apparent at all. Let's go through the steps you as a player must do if you find yourself in this position, and you will, a lot. Firstly, you must analyse what your current character's job actually is and whether you are effectively leveraging its strengths against the opposition. A common occurrence for new players is to gravitate towards DPS characters such as Widow, McCree or Reaper. You might feel that dealing damage is your most direct way of contributing, but in some instances you might actually be helping the team, especially if you're not able to actually do damage due to being countered by the opposing team's comp or by using the character incorrectly. I'm sure many of you will know the feeling of just dying over and over again, seemingly unable to do anything about it. This is where you must analyse your role before you know what changes to make. Perhaps the team isn't moving the objective enough, perhaps you're being spammed out at range, perhaps your team doesn't have enough healing. Now for the second phase, analysing your team comp. A lot of the time the gaps are more obvious than you might think. An important detail, you're never under as much immediate pressure to make this decision as you might think. It takes longer to make a rash choice, die, and then make a right one than it does to just think for a moment and make the right choice first time. Lastly, before you make their decision, there is a third component, analysing your opponent. Many people during the beta found Bastion hard to deal with. Some even said he was overpowered. He's not, you just need to know how to counter him. For example, did you know that Genji can reflect any attack, even an ult, with one of his abilities? Imagine the Bastion's surprise when all his damage he thinks is being done to you is in fact reflected back on him. Perhaps your team is falling prey to the splash damage of Junkrat. Well, Pharah counters him pretty hard with her aerial attacks while avoiding his main weapons. It's about identifying the problem and taking steps to counter it. In high level play this can happen several times a match, as certain parts of a payload map, for example, have varying terrain suiting different characters. I know what it's like to come from other games where I can influence a game with just one style of play, and adjusting to a different mentality isn't always easy, but be assured, knowing when to switch and how to pick the right hero is a vital part of improving at the game. When playing, try to remain aware and analyse your role within the team if things have stalled or the opposing team starts to gain the upper hand. Just by doing this, you'll be training yourself to become a better player. Until next time.